The void had never been truly empty, at least not according to the ancient legends whispered in the darker corners of the galaxy. But no one alive had expected to see them again. Not like this. Deep in the fringes of the Andromeda Rift, sensors on the flagship Starbound blinked wildly as an enormous mass emerged from the swirling nebulae. At first, the officers thought it was a sensor glitch, distortions from the rift's gravitational anomalies. Then the scanners confirmed it. A fleet. Not just any fleet, but one unlike anything the galaxy had seen for centuries. Titanic warships, built of blackened alloys with hulls etched in patterns no current technology could replicate. The sharp angles and Gothic curves spoke of an age-long past, of legends from Earth, now nothing more than myth to most starfaring races. This was the War Armada. Captain, multiple signatures, hundreds of vessels. The tactical officer stammered, voice tight with disbelief. They're heading straight toward the core systems. This can't be happening. Captain Morella Voss stood rigid, eyes scanning the live feeds. Her jaw clenched. Alert command. Tell them to prepare for possible engagement. We need all ships ready. And open comms. Attempt peaceful contact. For hours, the fleet advanced silently. No transmissions, no replies to hail attempts. The silence was worse than the threat itself, a cold reminder of an ancient war humanity had once waged and lost. News broke across the galaxy like wildfire. Galactic councils convened emergency sessions. Diplomatic envoys hurried to frontier worlds. Across alien capitals, streets emptied as citizens scrambled to prepare for what many feared was an imminent invasion. Do we have any intel on their intent? Admiral Talkesh asked his aides from the command center of the Andronis Alliance. They've been gone for centuries. Why now? No precedent, sir, replied his strategist. All known records describe the Earth Armada as extinct, destroyed during the collapse. Yet here they are. Their technology is far beyond anything we've encountered. Meanwhile, aboard the flagship of the War Armada, the Exile's Wrath, Commander Elias Rain stared out into the endless stars. His face was scared, worn by years of exile, but his eyes burned with purpose. We do not come seeking war, Elias murmured to his second-in-command. We come to reclaim what was lost, to remind the galaxy that Earth still stands. A sudden alert interrupted his thoughts. An alien cruiser was hailing them. Open the channel, Elias ordered, voice steady. Static filled the bridge before a sharp voice demanded, identify yourselves. State your purpose or prepare to be engaged. Elias straightened, calm but resolute. I am Commander Elias Rain of Earth's War Armada. We have returned from exile. Our purpose will soon be made clear. Do not mistake our silence for weakness. The line went dead. Prepare defensive formations, Elias said. We proceed. Let them panic. The time for reckoning is near. The galaxy held its breath. No further communications came from Earth's War Armada after that brief, chilling exchange. Instead, the fleet moved like a shadow, silent and implacable, threading through star systems without a word or a warning. Entire worlds watched from their orbiting stations, waiting for a message, a demand, a declaration. Anything. But the Armada offered nothing. Speculation became fevered whispers in the corridors of power. Was Earth preparing to reclaim lost territories? Were they gathering forces for war? Or did their silence hide something far worse? Inside the grand capital of the Zenturi Confederacy, Ambassador Lyra Koval slammed her palm on the negotiation table. We cannot afford this silence. We must know their intent. Our spies report that no one aboard those ships is communicating internally either. It's as if the entire fleet moves as one mind. Her aide, a nervous young technician, swallowed hard. Madam Ambassador, some sensors have picked up a faint signal. It's ancient, corrupted, but definitely human. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Play it. Across every holographic screen in the room, a distorted voice crackled to life. The words were Old Earth dialect, almost forgotten, but still chilling. The reckoning begins. A cold silence fell. The phrase echoed through every council chamber, every war room, every humble spaceport. What reckoning? And for whom? Back aboard the Exile's Wrath, Commander Elias Rains stood before the bridge crew, watching the galaxy's reaction unfold through intercepted broadcasts. "Our message was clear," he said quietly. "We do not come to negotiate. We come to fulfill a promise made long ago." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, voice tense. "More signals are being detected. They're faint transmissions, scattered across sectors once colonized by humans, coordinates, star maps, fragments of data." Elias's eyes darkened. "They seek the lost archives, the secrets hidden in exile. The galaxy must understand, we were driven away for what we know. Now, we return to reclaim that knowledge." Meanwhile, in the shadowed halls of the Vrek Collective, a clandestine meeting convened. The Council's most feared warlord, Malgur, tapped his claws on the metallic table. "If the humans seek their lost power, we must stop them," Malgur growled. "Their technology could tip the balance. We destroy the Armada before it reaches the core." "But Malgur," protested the chief diplomat, "if we act rashly, we risk war with all Earth's remnants. Some believe they are survivors, not conquerors." "Survivors," Malgur spat. "They are predators. Their silence is a weapon. Their return is a declaration of war." Across the galaxy, fleets scrambled. Spies infiltrated human sympathizers. Secret weapons were readied. And through it all, the Earth Armada pressed forward, their silence louder than any gunfire. On the bridge of the Exile's Wrath, Elias gazed toward the star-filled horizon. "This galaxy has forgotten what it means to fear Earth," he said softly. "Let them remember. Aegis Prime was a fortress world, the gateway to the core systems and the jewel of the Andronis Alliance. Its orbital defense platforms bristled with weapons, and its fleets were among the most powerful in the galaxy. When Earth's war armada appeared on the edge of its system, the alarm bells rang immediately." Admiral Talkesh stood on the bridge of the flagship Vigilant Star, eyes flickering between tactical displays. "The Earth Armada has refused all communication attempts. They're advancing in formation, steady, unrelenting." Behind him, commanders scrambled to finalize battle plans. Talkesh's voice was grim. "Prepare the fleet. We engage at Grid 17 Alpha. No retreat." As the human ships slipped through the system's outer defenses, the first shots rang out. The air crackled with energy beams, missiles, and electromagnetic pulses. But the humans fought unlike any enemy the galaxy had known. Their warships absorbed damage with self-repairing nanovols that shimmered like living metal, while countermeasures bent gravity fields, twisting trajectories of incoming fire. The flagship, the Exile's Wrath, moved like a predator, weaving through the chaos. Commander Elias Rains' voice was calm, almost detached. "Focus fire on the Alliance's command ship. Disrupt their coordination." Explosions bloomed across the battlefront as human volleys tore through enemy vessels. The Alliance fleet faltered, formations breaking apart in confusion. The battle was brutal, swift, and devastating. Amid the carnage, Captain Morella Voss of the Starbound coordinated desperate maneuvers, narrowly avoiding a plasma blast that detonated near her bridge. Her voice cracked with frustration. "These ships, their tech is centuries ahead. How are they still operating?" Her tactical officer's voice was grim. "They've adapted. Their weapons and defenses defy our calculations. We're fighting ghosts." As the Vigilant Star faltered under a concentrated assault, Talkesh made a desperate decision. "Deploy the Singularity Cannon. If we can't win this battle, we'll destroy the system." But before the massive weapon could charge, a human destroyer unleashed a gravity well that disrupted the cannon's energy field. The weapon fizzled into harmless sparks. Realizing the tide had turned, Talkesh ordered a retreat, but Earth's Armada was relentless. They pursued, disabling Alliance ships one by one with ruthless precision. In the aftermath, The devastated battlefield was silent except for the crackling of dying engines. The galaxy watched in stunned disbelief as the human fleet held firm, victorious. Back aboard the Exile's Wrath, Alias surveyed the battle logs. Let this be a warning. We are not relics of the past. We are the future. The galaxy will learn respect, or it will learn war. But amid the triumph, a new worry gnawed at him. An unknown signal had been detected during the battle, emanating from deep space, far beyond their current position. Something was waiting, watching, and the reckoning had only just begun. The aftermath of Aegis Prime left the galaxy in shock. Entire fleets lay shattered, systems trembling under the weight of Earth's return. Yet, amid the ruins, an unexpected prize surfaced. A cache of relics buried beneath the planet's scorched surface, fragments of a long-forgotten past. Exploration teams from the Andronis Alliance and allied races descended cautiously, eager to uncover secrets that might explain the power behind the human armada. What they found was unlike anything recorded in galactic history. Ancient artifacts etched with symbols matching no known language, crystalline data cores humming with untapped energy, and weapons forged from materials thought impossible to create. Dr. Maya Aaron, a leading xenotechnologist, knelt before one such device in the excavation chamber. Her fingers trembled as she brushed dust from a sleek cube emitting a faint azure glow. "This technology predates the collapse by millennia," she whispered. "It could change everything." Word spread fast. Across the galaxy, factions vied to claim these relics, some to harness their power, others to prevent their secrets from falling into Earth's hands. Rumors swirled that these artifacts were the key to humanity's lost empire, a civilization once so advanced it had mastered the very fabric of spacetime. Meanwhile, aboard the Exile's Wrath, Commander Elias Rain received reports from scout ships returning from beyond the Armada's current path. "The lost archives," Elias murmured, "the scattered knowledge we sought in exile. Each fragment brings us closer to restoring our rightful place." But the galaxy was not waiting idly. The Vrek Collective launched covert raids to seize relics for themselves, while the Zentari Confederacy mobilized secret task forces to sabotage human expeditions. The fragile balance teetered on the edge of chaos. One night, in the Armada's war room, Elias convened his trusted officers. "These artifacts are more than weapons or technology. They are the heart of our legacy. If the galaxy unites against us to stop our recovery, war is inevitable." His tactical chief, Lieutenant Syracade, nodded grimly. "Our enemies are already trying to turn these relics into weapons of mass destruction. We must accelerate our search, but also protect what we find." Suddenly, the room's comms flickered to life, broadcasting a scrambled transmission intercepted from deep space. The voice was distorted but unmistakably human. "The knowledge buried beneath the ashes holds the key to survival. Beware the shadow lurking beyond the stars." A chill passed through the room. Elias's expression hardened. "A warning or a threat? Whoever sent that message knows more than we do." The Council of Alien Leaders watched the human armada's every move with increasing suspicion. Some believed Earth's return was a chance for peace and cooperation. Others feared it was a prelude to galactic domination. But within the Armada, resolve only grew stronger. The secrets beneath the ashes were not just relics. They were humanity's hope, its power, and its future. And those who sought to control or destroy them would soon learn that Earth's warriors were not merely reclaiming lost ground. They were ready to ignite the fires of a new era. The galaxy's fear of Earth's war armada deepened as whispers of strange alliances and secret emissaries surfaced in the farthest reaches of known space. The humans, once thought lost to time and exile, now revealed themselves not only as warriors but as survivors and diplomats. On the shadowed moon of Tyrannus V, a clandestine meeting took place in an abandoned orbital station. Among flickering holoscreens and the hum of failing power conduits, a small group gathered, human envoys and representatives from disparate alien factions who had long watched Earth's exile from afar. Commander Elias Rain, flanked by his trusted Lieutenant Cade, addressed the group with measured authority. "We are not conquerors," Elias said, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "We are survivors of a cataclysm that shattered our home. We have returned not to claim dominion, but to warn and prepare." His words were met with mixed reactions. The Shardari ambassador, a sleek, insectoid diplomat, leaned forward, antennae twitching. "Warnings. Against what? Your own return has destabilized the galaxy. Many fear it signals a new war." "War is not our choice," Elias replied. "But the threat beyond our borders is very real. Something old, something powerful, that forced us into exile. We seek allies to face it." In the shadows, a figure watched through hidden surveillance, a covert agent reporting back to the Vrek Collective. Malger's voice crackled over the encrypted channel. "They spin tales of threats and alliances, but the Armada remains a danger. We cannot trust them. Prepare to undermine their efforts." Meanwhile, in the bustling capital of the Zentari Confederacy, Ambassador Lyra Kaval prepared for a high-stakes diplomatic summit. She was torn between hope and suspicion. "If humans truly seek peace," she muttered, "why cloak themselves in silence and fear?" Her intelligence teams uncovered troubling news. A double agent embedded deep within the Armada's ranks. Someone feeding secrets to unknown enemies, threatening to unravel the fragile web of trust being woven. Back aboard the Exile's Wrath, tension simmered beneath the surface. Lieutenant Cade confronted her closest confidant. "There's a leak. Someone close to us is working against the Armada." Elias listened in silence. "Trust is our most precious weapon. We cannot afford to lose it now." As diplomatic channels buzzed with talks of uneasy alliances and covert operations, the galaxy's political landscape shifted. Old rivalries found new enemies. Former foes became reluctant partners. In a daring move, Elias authorized a secret envoy to deliver ancient human technology to the Zentari Confederacy, proof of Earth's willingness to cooperate and a gesture toward unity. Yet, the shadow of betrayal loomed large. Under the cold light of distant stars, unseen hands plotted to ignite conflict. The Armada's enemies sought to turn trust into treachery, peace into war. And amid the faces from the shadows, one truth remained clear. Humanity's return had changed everything. The galaxy was no longer the same, and the reckoning had only just begun. The silence of deep space was shattered by the distant echo of destruction. On the bridge of the Exile's Wrath, Commander Elias Rain's eyes narrowed as incoming reports flashed across the tactical displays. Outposts on the fringe worlds, long dormant, were under brutal attack, an enemy that struck with deadly precision and vanished before retaliation. "Ghost ships," Elias muttered, the words bitter. "They move like shadows, wiping out our forward positions." Lieutenant Cade's voice was tense. "Sensors are unable to identify their origins. They use cloaking technology unlike anything we've encountered." The threat was unlike the calculated fury of the Vrek Collective or the political machinations of the Zentari. This was something darker, ancient, lurking beyond the edge of known space, hunting. Flashbacks filled Elias's mind, memories from a time long before Exile, before the collapse. Earth, once a vibrant hub of innovation and culture, had been torn apart by war and betrayal. The survivors flowed into the stars, carrying fragments of their civilization with them. "Ghosts of Earth," Elias said quietly. "We are the last of our kind. But these attackers, they are something else. Perhaps remnants of the enemy that forced us away." Far from the Armada's war room, a shadowy figure observed the unfolding chaos. Clad in ancient armor etched with symbols lost to time, the attacker's presence was both terrifying and enigmatic. "We will not allow the humans to reclaim their legacy," the figure hissed. "They must be crushed before they awaken the power we buried." Back aboard the Armada, the tension was palpable. Scouts were dispatched in waves, but each returned with warnings of ambush and annihilation. The Armada's once mighty advance had stalled. caught in a web of unseen enemies. Elias gathered his senior officers. We face more than political foes or isolated factions. This is a war against shadows, against ghosts who seek to bury Earth's legacy forever. Lieutenant K tapped rapidly on her console. Our recovered relics, those artifacts we uncovered beneath the ashes, may hold the key. If we can unlock their secrets, we might turn the tide. But we must act quickly, warned Elias. Our enemies grow bolder. If they destroy our outposts, our supply lines will collapse. Meanwhile, in the halls of the Zentari Confederacy, Ambassador Lyra Koval reviewed intelligence reports that chilled her. The cosmic threat is no myth, she said to her council. We are witnessing the return of an ancient force, one that hunted Earth to the brink of extinction. Diplomatic relations strained as fear mounted. Some factions began calling for preemptive strikes against the Armada, while others advocated for unity against the greater danger. In the silence of the war room, Elias stood alone, staring at a holographic map dotted with blinking red alerts. The ghosts of Earth are no longer just memories, he whispered. They are a warning, and we must be ready to face what comes next. The station known as Helios Prime hung in orbit around a dying star, its vast halls carved from dark metal and illuminated by flickering amber lights. It was neutral ground, a place where the galaxy's most fractured powers could meet without fear of immediate bloodshed. Yet the air was thick with suspicion. In the Grand Chamber, representatives from every major faction gathered: humans, Centauri, Vrek, Shardari, and others. At the center stood Commander Elias Rain, his presence commanding attention. Across the room, Ambassador Lyra Koval's sharp gaze bore into him, reflecting a mixture of hope and doubt. Elias began, voice steady but firm. We face a threat greater than any rivalry or grudge. An ancient force, one that destroyed Earth's civilization, and now hunts the galaxy's fringes. We can no longer afford to fight amongst ourselves. The room erupted in murmurs, some of agreement, others in disbelief. Malgur, the Vrek warlord, rose with a snarl. Your humans bring ruin and fear wherever they go. Why should we trust your warnings? How do we know this is not a ploy for conquest? Elias met Malgur's glare without flinching, because the enemy we face is beyond us all. They threaten to consume everything. This is not about Earth's return. It's about survival. Ambassador Koval stepped forward. We must decide. Do we unite or fall divided? The Zentari Confederacy proposes a coalition, combining our fleets and resources to face this shadow together. From the shadows of the chamber, a voice interrupted. A representative of the enigmatic Exile call. Words mean little without proof. What evidence can Earth offer to justify such a coalition? Elias nodded. We have intercepted transmissions, artifacts, and intelligence from lost outposts. Our fleets have faced these ghost ships and survived. But the scale of the threat will overwhelm us unless we stand together. Tensions flared as old grudges resurfaced, centuries of war, betrayal, and loss. The Vrek demanded guarantees, the Zentari sought assurances, and even some human officers questioned whether diplomacy could succeed. Suddenly, the chamber's lights dimmed. The star beyond the station flickered, casting eerie shadows. Outside the viewport, a massive fleet emerged. Dark ships, alien and foreboding, advancing from the galactic core. Gasps echoed. An attack fleet, shouted a Zentari commander. They are here. Elias's voice rose above the chaos. This is the enemy. Our reckoning. The council scrambled to respond, weapon systems activating across the station. Panic threatened to unravel the fragile alliance. But Elias raised his hand. We fight together, or we fall alone. The time for suspicion is over. In the moments before the battle, unlikely alliances formed. Human and alien commanders coordinated defenses, while diplomats sent urgent messages to their fleets. Helios Prime became the battleground where the galaxy's fate would be decided, not through war of words, but through fire and steel. As the first volleys lit up the void, Elias stared into the darkness beyond the stars. "We are no longer exiles," he whispered. "We are the galaxy's last hope." The void erupted in fire and fury. Helios Prime's orbit became a tempest of energy beams, missile barrages, and war cries as the Allied fleet clashed with the ancient Shadow Armada. The dark ships moved with terrifying precision, their weapons unlike anything known, ripping through shields and hulls with a silent, insidious energy that devoured light itself. Commander Elias Rain stood at the forefront aboard the Exile's Wrath, his hands clenched around the control console. Around him, human and alien officers worked in tense harmony, coordinating maneuvers against the relentless enemy. "Shields holding at 60%, reported Lieutenant Syrah Cade, eyes fixed on her display. "But they're adapting. Their cloaking is weakening, but their attack patterns are unpredictable. Focus on their flagship," Elias ordered. "If we bring it down, the rest will falter." The flagship of the Shadow Armada, massive and twisted, like a living nightmare, loomed ahead. It pulsed with dark energy, radiating a malevolence that chilled even the hardened veterans. The Allied fleets surged forward, firing everything they had. Explosions blossomed across enemy lines, but the shadows seemed endless. It was a battle for survival, every moment a struggle against annihilation. Suddenly, the ancient relics recovered beneath Aegis Prime began to react. A brilliant blue light surged through the Allied ships, strengthening shields, enhancing weapons, and illuminating the darkness with hope. Elias smiled grimly. "The past is fighting with us." But victory came at a price. Ships burned, sacrifices made, and heroes fell as the war reached its brutal crescendo. Malgur, once a fierce opponent of the humans, fought side by side with Elias, their grudges forgotten in the face of extinction. In the final moments, the Exile's Wrath unleashed its secret weapon, a gravitational pulse drawn from the ancient artifacts. The pulse struck the Shadow flagship, tearing it apart from within. As the enemy flagship crumbled, the remaining Shadow ships faltered, their cohesion shattered. The Allied fleet pressed the advantage, pushing the darkness back into the void. Exhausted but victorious, Elias watched as the last enemy vessels disappeared into the stars. The galaxy was safe for now. In the aftermath, alliances forged in fire stood strong. The Zentari, Vrek, Shardari, and humans pledged to protect the galaxy's fragile peace. Elias turned to his crew. "We return from exile not to conquer, but to protect. This is our new beginning." The galaxy, once terrified by Earth's war armada, now looked to it as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even from the ashes of exile, greatness could rise. The reckoning had come and passed. But the stars held many secrets still, and the future was theirs to write.